For the next 4 questions, we're going to identify which type of sampling occurred. Was it random, systematic, stratified, or cluster in each of these 4 scenarios? So for number 10, the researcher randomly selected 3 states and then asked all colleges willing to release grade information from those states. So here's the important part to note. They are selecting 3 states. This is a type of grouping. We're grouping by state. And then notice they're taking all of the colleges within that state and getting their GPA. So this is an example of cluster sampling because they've selected 3 groups and they're pulling all of the subjects from each of those 3 groups. All right, so the next one, the researcher numbered all of the colleges willing to release grade information and chose every 10th one. Note, this is the population. And then here we're selecting every 10th or every kth subject. So this is an example of systematic. Here the researcher numbered all of the colleges, kind of like systematic, willing to release grade information, and choose several of them using a random number generator. This is an example of just an equally likely chance of picking something. So this is just a plain and boring random sampling method. Number 13, the researcher grouped the schools, all right, so we know it's either stratified or cluster, by 2-year state schools, 4-year state schools, 2-year private schools, and 4-year private schools. They then decided to choose 5 schools from each of these groups. So notice they're grouping and then picking a specific amount of subjects from each group. This is a stratified sampling method. So in terms of ranking them in best to worst, in terms of how representative, it's really going to depend on the kind of study you're doing. It's also going to depend on your resources. How much time do you have? So there's a lot of things. I don't know that we can say that one is particularly better than other just across the board. It's going to be dependent upon the type of study we're doing.